Men who are preparing to get married in rural China must acquire a great deal of money beforehand, as it is tradition for the groom to give what is known as gift money to the bride's family before getting married. In East China's Shandong province, local residents said expectations for gift money have increased over time.
The expectation here is no less than $6,500. Some even offer an amount of more than $16,000.
10万。嗯。
这是你们提出来的还是怎么着？习俗是不是都是这些？
对，习俗。
Things are even worse in North China's Shanxi province. In the village of Gaoluo, the average amount given for gift money is more than $14,000, with no one giving any less than $11,000. Additional expenses incurred by holding a wedding banquet and purchasing jewelry have driven up the cost even more. However, the annual per capita earnings of men in this village are less than $1,000. Zhang Tiantian is a 22-year-old who married last year. He too had to dole out a large sum to get married.
I provided the gift money on 2 separate occasions. The total amount was about $16,000.
Xie Xiaohong, head of the village, said houses are also a must-have for weddings. However, less than a third of the village's families can afford to buy a new home.
The expenses may range a bit for different families. Wealthy families may spend and receive more, including a house or a car.
Xie said parents often have to bear the brunt of the expense, leading many of them to migrate to cities where higher-paying jobs are available. However, a lot of families still have to borrow money from relatives or banks.
The parents don't want their son to be disappointed, whether they can afford it or not. They try their best to get the money, even borrowing from others. In my village, about 70% of the families have to borrow money for weddings.
Although the general quality of life has improved in many rural areas, increases in income have not kept up with increases in marriage costs. Zhang still feels the heavy burden of marriage expenses, even though his father earns more money than most others in the village. He thinks his parents will also have to borrow money to support him.
I'm feeling a lot of stress because I know my family can't afford it. The money they've saved is far from enough. Few families in my village can afford weddings without having to resort to loans.
Families with multiple children face an even greater challenge. Niu Shanhua, a 59-year-old woman from the village of Xizhu in central China's Henan province, has 4 sons, with her 2 oldest sons having already married. The other 2 are not married yet, as Niu ran out of money after buying 2 houses for her older sons. Since Chinese women typically expect the man to furnish a house before a wedding can take place, her 2 younger sons may be out of luck.
儿子结婚那个准备房子，
你没房要，我就不是都有房啊，都要房那啥嘞，没房谁信呢？
那你给儿子准备房了没有？
那俩给3间平房，这要还盖不起了。
下边2个儿子盖不起房子。
Tan Kejian, a marriage expert in Shanxi, said poorer villages often experience greater marriage costs. Tan added that this is likely because of a deep-rooted preference for boys over girls in rural areas. This has led to a massive gender imbalance in poor areas. In addition, women are more likely than men to migrate to and stay in cities, exacerbating the gender imbalance problem.
Many people want to work elsewhere. However, women tend to stay in cities, while the men who migrate are more likely to return home. This is one of the reasons why the gender imbalance has become a critical problem.
Greater knowledge of urban life, where people earn more money, and the idea of keeping up with the Joneses have also influenced the increase in marriage expenses. Experts say attitudes towards marriage have to change before the situation can improve. They said that expensive weddings don't necessarily lead to happy relationships.
When a couple decides to get married, the foundation should always be pure love. Love is an emotion that has nothing to do with material things. A couple that is wealthy enough to hold an expensive wedding may not end up with a happy marriage, while those who live simpler lifestyles may very well have happier lives together.